there's my belly. She's waving at the camera.
Like,
hi. Oh my gosh.
Welcome to the Common Dog podcast. I am Laura Donnell, your host and the owner of the Common Dog. I have with me today Sabrina Souza, who is my desk manager as well as our head groomer. And we're going to talk a little bit about grooming today, right?
Yes.
Awesome. All right. Why don't you start a little bit with your story, how you got into this crazy industry, your love for dogs, that kind of thing.
Yeah, so I started working with dogs in 2016. I got a job at a daycare in my neighborhood, and I worked there for a couple of years. And then I moved on to a position as a dog walker. And I absolutely loved being a dog walker. It's just working with dogs on a much smaller scale than daycare.
Right.
And I just absolutely loved it, but I still...
Lots of exercise.
Yeah, yeah.
Get your steps in.
I still was with my family at the time, and we actually ended up moving across the state. So I was devastated. I couldn't keep my dog walking position. And there wasn't a daycare within like an hour of where I lived out in the Berkshires.
So we forgot. This is Lucy. Lucy, come here, Lucy. Come on. Do you want to come up and say hi? Say hi. Yes. Do you want to come up and say hi? There we go. There we go. Lucy, look over there. Say hi. That's a good girl. Lucy is a golden retriever that's been coming to the Common Dog for a few years. She does training with us. She does daycare with us. She does our structured daycare program, which she's so good at. Yep. And she also does grooming.
Her every 6 to 8 weeks.
Awesome. Awesome. And was she kind of difficult at first, or was she always just sort of, here's my paw?
She was very cool for it. Kind of naturally settled into the process of it all. Yeah.
Oh, that's such a good girl. All right. I'm sorry. I interrupted you. Go ahead. we interrupted you.
So yeah, there wasn't a daycare within an hour of where I lived, but there was a groomer. So I ended up becoming a bather at a salon, and that's sort of where I took off with my grooming.
Grooming. Ugh. So not my thing. Cannot stand wet hair all over me. Don't mind dry hair all over me.
It's a dirty job. Somebody's got to do it, though. So.
I'm always amazed at the skill that's required to be a groomer. And I don't mean being able to do haircuts, or just the level of patience and true technique with handling the dog. There's a lot of training that goes into becoming a groomer.
Absolutely.
Tell me a little bit how your story started with that training, being able to handle a dog in the tub and on the table.
So it actually started with my own dog, Autumn. She was a Lhasa Apso, and she ended up being a corporate salon reject.
Oh, no.
So somebody had to do her haircuts. So I ended up just slowly doing them with her, and I realized that the calmer I was, the slower I was, the more I just spanned out her session, was actually able to get it done, not without complaints, but we were able to do it. Yeah, and I realized, wow, if I just do this a different way, it can be done.
Right, right. Yeah, it takes, I think that, to your point, being calm and going slowly makes such a huge, huge difference for the dog. So you worked at another daycare for a little while and received training in terms of, or some level of training in terms of grooming there, and kind of fell in love with all aspects of the industry in terms of daycare and grooming and just being involved. So when did you start with the Common Dog?
October of 2021.
Gotcha. So you've been here a while, 4.5 years?
Yeah.
No? Awesome. Yeah. Yay. And I remember when you first started, we had you working in the park, as everybody does. Everybody works in the park. Yes. And you also were you're an incredibly fast typist. So I was looking at your skill set, and I went, ooh, desk. She'd be great at desk because you fly on the keyboard. And you're really good with clients, and just kind of patient in all aspects of your approach to life in general. So I thought you'd be great at the desk, and clearly I was right.
Yes, I absolutely love the front desk. It's a position that I've been in since I started working with dogs. And it's not just the dogs, it's the clients too. Some clients, are really excited to just drop their dog off for the day, and then some dogs are a little bit apprehensive about leaving their dog for a boarding stay.
Some people cry.
Yeah. And being able to just help them meet them wherever they're at, it's something that I really like to do for our clients.
Yeah, yeah. And we have really awesome, amazingly great clients.
Absolutely.
Too. So you here at the Common Dog, you're the desk manager and you're also the head groomer. So you're wearing, and you work in the yard, and you're starting to learn some of our structured daycare training aspect, like dog training, not just training for the grooming room.
Yeah.
So you're wearing all kinds of hats. You got hats all over the place. So with grooming, you were grooming before you started here.
Yep.
But you do haircuts, and then you train all the groomers that come to us, or people who have no grooming experience.
Yep.
Talk a little bit about, how do you train somebody to be a groomer, even if they're not necessarily doing haircuts, but baths?
So you have to like it, kind of what we were just talking about.
Lucy is demanding attention, so we have a little side moment here because Lucy's pawing, saying, I'm included too.
So you have to like it. You're not going to enjoy it, and the dog's not going to enjoy it if you don't really like what you're doing.
Like me, I really hate giving baths.
So if you can't be in a damp environment or a loud environment, then it's just not going to be the best fit.
Yeah.
But if it's something that you really like to do and you like to see the result, with lots of practice and just some patience, you can really do some amazing things to a dog's coat.
Well, and a lot of dogs, especially in the beginning, are terrified of being groomed. I mean, it's sort of a really weird situation. You're put in this metal box and you're sprayed
natural.
it's not natural. And I'm sure it's pretty scary, but to your point, when you're really patient and you're calm and you give the dog breaks, especially when you've got a dog that's, kind of new, right?
Absolutely.
So we give dogs lots of breaks from the table, and even, kind of let them come out of the tub if they're not comfortable, especially when you're dealing with dogs that don't have any experience being professionally groomed, right?
Yeah, and it's their first impression of it. Your approach to it, you do have to be slow and you do have to be patient. And you have dogs who are they're great and they handle it and they're like, yeah, I'll fly through this grooming session. I got the stamina to stand on the table.
Unlike my dog. She has the stamina to stand on any table for hours and hours. She just hates being groomed.
Yeah. But if you shrink yourself down to their size and think of having to stand on that table especially if they're getting a haircut,
right,
and having all these foreign things done to you,
right,
it changes the way that you approach them.
I wonder, I hate having my hair done or having to sit still for pretty much any period of time, really. Maybe that's why I'm also not a big fan of grooming dogs, because I just feel so sorry for them. I'm like, oh, I'm trying to get through this as fast as I can for you, buddy. But I've noticed, when I've kind of sat back and watched you groom dogs, you're so patient and you're so, it's almost a dance you have with, especially when the dog's in the tub or on the table.
Oh, yeah.
Your movements are such where you're clearly supporting the dog. Right, and they are so much calmer. You're able to do dogs that some of our clients have said no one else has been able to groom. They've had in the past to have to bring their dog to the vet to have their nails done and have them sedated. We offer a program here where dogs that are really uncomfortable having their paws touched and you can't even imagine doing their nails. It's a program where we work with the trainers, myself, JB, and the other trainers here, something we offer through our structured daycare program called cooperative care, where we get a dog comfortable with, the very first step is having their paws touched. Yeah. And then you kind of take that over in terms of leading the dog to having their nail beds touched. And then the kind of scarier stuff sort of starts with a grinder, or maybe you don't use the grinder, you trim their nails. How do you determine what pace to take with that, and what to use? Like, do you use the grinder, or do you use the nail cutter? Like, how do you make those choices?
Yeah, so I never jump right in, because like anything, if you just rush into it, it's going to scare the dog. So I look at their paws first, and I'm checking their nails, and I make sure, okay, how long are they? Can I clip them and Dremel them? Can I only Dremel them? And then I approach the dog that way with whatever tool I'm going to use. But especially if their nails are really long, I'm gonna clip them first because I don't want to Dremel their nail the entire
time. Because it takes too long.
Yeah.
And they get hot.
It can
too.
get hot. Yep.
Yeah.
And that's not comfortable at all.
No,
so yeah,
no.
if I'm able to clip them, I'll clip them and then Dremel them.
Yeah.
But if the dog's really scared, I won't even approach them with the Dremel.
Right.
Because even just the sight of it, or when you turn it on, that buzzing noise, it's enough to really upset
Well,
them.
my own dog was one of our clients for nail maintenance, for the nail maintenance program. In fact, I don't do my dog's nails. It's still, pretty stressful for her. JB does my dog's nails, and you do JB's dog,
yes.
right? So
yep.
we
how it
works. And she's so much better now. She's so much calmer. I mean, before it was, I had to monkey hold her, and JB was trying to hold her paw, and it was just this massive struggle to get a nail done.
Yep.
So we did one nail at a time, and we built up to 2 nails. And then JB found that, especially since her nails are pretty brittle, that the Dremel tool was better.
Mm-hmm.
And so now JB can put her on the table. She literally will give her paw. She's still uncomfortable. She's not like, yay, I love having my nails done. Right. But she's comfortable with it now because she's been desensitized to the experience. She knows nothing horrible or scary is going to happen.
Right.
And she literally gets her nails done every about every 3 or 4 weeks, I think.
Yeah.
Having her nails done here.
This is a lifelong thing for them. So they have to be comfortable in some capacity with being handled in that way.
Right.
And that's why I think it's so important that trainers and groomers work together. Because it really is, it's a lifelong thing. And can you imagine having to do this one thing every so often, or
having to take your dog to the vet and having them sedated just so they can have their nails trimmed?
Right.
I mean, it doesn't have to be that way.
Right.
And we have helped so many dogs, just with nails, not to mention the whole bathing experience and getting used to the blow dryer and so on and so forth. So I think we have some questions from some clients that maybe we could go over. What are the questions that we have?
So one of them was, you kind of already answered it. It was the Dremel versus getting clips.
And that's really based on the nail itself.
Yep.
Right? I know my dog, her nails were just kind of too brittle to be clipped. It was much better with the Dremel.
Yep.
So, but to your point, it also depends on how the dog reacts.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
And the length of the nail.
And the length of the nail. That's right. So I always assess the nail, and just look at its state, and then just look at its length and what I can do for it. If it's too short, I'm not going to clip it, and if I'm able to, I'll clip and grind them. That's my favorite thing to do because I can get them nice and short, and then you just round off those sharp edges.
Right.
So I almost always clip and grind.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So what's another question?
Another question is, how to use an electric trimming tool for paw pads without the pup twitching their paws?
Yeah, that's tough. So it goes back to desensitization. Get the dog used to having their paws touched. You got to warm them up to the idea of having those things done before even approaching them with a tool. So even if you're just sitting next to them on the couch, just kind of rub on their paws a little bit, touch their paw pads, start to play with each of their fingers. And then you can sort of start to introduce the tool over time.
Like sit there with it in your hand.
Yeah, and then turn
treats,
it on.
Right? You can make it a positive experience with some treats, and then turn it on.
Yep.
And then just sit there, right? And it's sort of leading up to ultimately them being able to have their pads.
So that twitching, it's their reaction to it because they're not used to it.
Right.
So you want to desensitize that.
Right. Right. What's another question?
The last one we have is, how often should I get my dog groomed, and when do I start?
Oh, that's a good question. Like as a puppy, when should they start?
Yeah, so as soon as you get your dog, get them to a groomer. As soon as they get their vaccinations, get them in. You want to start as young as possible, just so that it all goes back to desensitization, that they're used to it. So that by the time that they're an adult, this is easy breezy for them. It's something that they can handle every month. or however long that they go with grooming. And in terms of setting a schedule, it does depend on the dog and it does depend on the breed. I would say for like a short, flat-coated dog, anywhere from 8 to 10 weeks for.
So like a boxer or a
Yeah.
lab or, you know, something like that.
Yeah, like super smooth coats dogs.
Frenchies.
Yeah. So like full grooms, we're talking the full shebang, ears, teeth, nails. I would say 8 to 10 weeks. But you want to be doing maintenance things in between then, so keeping an eye on their nails, looking at their ears, checking their mouth, seeing if those things also need to be kept up with. But then if you get your double-coated dogs and your long-haired dogs, you're going to be grooming those dogs a lot more frequently.
Like a golden or a Newfoundland
Yeah.
or German Shepherd.
Yeah, which a golden and a Newfie, I mean, those are even of themselves are two completely separate grooms. So it really depends. I mean, if we're talking about a Newfie, you're grooming that dog almost monthly, maybe even every 3
Well, and there are
weeks.
sometimes that should be brushed
Every
almost
day.
daily, right?
Every day, yeah.
Thank God I don't have one of those.
Yeah, because that undercoat, it's always coming out, and it's not always just seasonally. They blow coats more at certain points in the year, but they are always shedding. So always.
And it's
always
natural
fresh
for them to shed. It's
Yep.
not like something is wrong or you should shave your dog
Yes.
because they're shedding.
And it's
because
not,
double-coated dogs, like it's important to not take their coat away.
Right.
Right.
Right. So their coat is kind of like their air conditioner. It
Right.
helps them regulate their temperature. So when you take that away, it really throws them off, and they really do suffer in the winter and
Gotcha.
the summertime.
Gotcha. Awesome. Well, great questions. Thank you so much for spending time with me today.
Thank you so much for having me.
And I'm so glad I don't have to do any grooming.
Give me a call.
Oh, we'll see you next time. Have a great day.
Bye.
Let's not forget, training tip of the week is going to be grooming related. So what is our training tip as it relates to grooming?
Touch your dog. Touch them as much as you can, especially their feet, because most of the time, if you can touch their feet, they can tolerate being touched other places. So kind of like what I said earlier, sitting next to them on the couch, just touching their paws and really just getting them used to having each digit moved around. And then you move up their neck and their ears and then down their lower back, which Lucy here loves.
She does. She loves to be touched everywhere.
So just touch your dog as much as you can. It really does help in their groom.
Great.
It really does.
Thanks. Thanks very much.